It is the day of reckoning. We call it April Madness in some parts. It's getting ready for the best time of the year in basketball. We just got the tournament done, and now it's on to the big boys, where the big boys get paid. Hey, no sponsors needed here. NBA playoffs. Let's talk off work. Let's first look at last year, man, and the guys that were in there, just to give you some background so we can understand, okay, who was there last year, who has some experience. I mean, those are some of the focal things that I look for in a playoff team success as the top teams that have made the playoffs make their way to try to head to the finals. If you look at it from a Western Conference perspective, we had the Rockets, the Timberwolves. So the Timberwolves had a strong team last year with Jimmy Butler. They made it. Thunder, Jazz, Trailblazers, Pelicans, right? Pelicans are no longer there. Warriors and Spurs. Okay, so these are teams we experienced. The teams that are still there: the Warriors, Spurs, Trailblazers, Jazz, Thunder, and Rockets. So it's mostly the same. We're going to talk about two teams that have come in and displaced those two guys in a second. On the East, boy, the East. Raptors, Wizards, healthy John Wall, Cavaliers, LeBron James, Pacers, Victor Oladipo, 76ers. It was Embiid and Simmons, the Heat, healthy Dwayne Wade, and healthy Whiteside. Celtics, not saying they're not healthy, but a healthy team that was playing together for the Heat. I'm disappointed in that, so I don't want to go there again. Celtics and the Bucks. So who's changed? Heat are no longer there, and the Wizards are no longer there. So who has come in and displaced those guys? So mostly the same. A lot of experience. Raptors add in Kawhi. Who else was addition here? 76ers added in a bludgeon of teams. And I'm going to tell you why they're my favorite to come out of the East if everything goes right for those guys. I still think they should have added the point guard. Anyway, back to it. Off work. Who do we got this year? Bang, bang. It is 2019, and we got on the West Coast, Golden State Warriors make it. LA Clippers make it. Okay, they face each other first round, 1 versus 8. We'll talk about that one. Next one, Houston versus Utah, 4 versus 5. Houston, very smart move in losing that matchup. But then you get the beast in the next lineup with probably GSW. So we'll go into that in a second. Portland versus OKC. That is an interesting matchup. And then Denver versus SAS. Let's see what happens there. So stopping and just talking about the West Coast, okay? The West Coast appears to be the best coast for the last couple of years. The West Coast has been dominating the NBA championships. And do I see a variance this year? Have to wait and see. Let me talk through this for a second. So let's look at GSW statistic wise. If we look at our stat tracker, pull that up. When we look at team points per game, what's funny, everyone's talking about GSW, but guess what? It's the Milwaukee Bucks on the East that lead in points per game. Golden State is second. So they lead in that effort, right? From a defensive perspective, I always like to go on that rant because that's critical for me. How are you doing defensively? What's your defensive efficiency overall? Okay. Going here, Golden State Warriors are 14th. Okay, that means there's a need for improvement. And their competitors, let's get into that. The Clippers, I thought they would be higher. They are not. An efficiency percentage, they are lower than the Golden State Warriors. Okay, but they are a defensive team. Do not be fooled. Opponents' points per game. Maybe this will help us understand it a little bit better. Again, the Clippers, wow. I mean, they are a scoring team because they allow you to score as well. Opponents' points per game, 114. They're near the last. So, again, look to be a defensive team. I guess they hit at the right moments. Golden State is 16th, so they have a little bit defense. We'll go into the other stats here that I need to look at from a Clippers versus Golden State perspective. I got to give you the stats. That's what the team was based off. The channel was based off. Let's go shooting percentage real quick. Shooting percentage. Golden State 51, Clippers at 47. So everything right now, right? I got my feedback from my heart. My heart's telling me GSW takes this. Now, how easily they take this, It's going to be depend on how they play, but we're going to get into that in a second. Offensive rebounds, I like this. Tells me how many times you can get the ball back up in the air and then score a point. And boy, Golden State Clippers are dead even in that ranking, so they need help there. And then the other thing is, this is also critical. People don't think about that. Personal fouls per game, right? Per possession. Control of yourself. Okay, so this is a great point. I'm trying to give you a feedback on why the Clippers have even made the playoffs. They are a very efficient team. They don't make as many mistakes, and it's kind of showing to the opposite. When I look at these stats, I'm trying to figure out how the hell the Clippers made it. 23 fouls per game for the LA Clippers near Phoenix and Atlanta, right? How the hell did the Clippers make the playoffs, right? Winning percentage for Golden State. They're up top. Again, everything is telling us, baby. Everything's telling us Golden State's going to take the cake. And this is being a long video. I don't want to make it long, but it's going to be because it's the full playoff rundown. Clippers in close games. Wow. Now look at that. Look at that, folks. So no offense, I'm going to make a comment. You could be sorry all game long, but if you can find a way to will yourself to the fourth quarter and the last 3 minutes make something happen, you can win the game. And the Clippers have a higher percentage of winning at the end of games than the Golden State Warriors. Very, very interesting. And maybe that is a telltale sign on how they made the playoffs. Let's jump to their page and who they got real quick. Pat Beverly. Again, I thought they were a defensive team. The stats are telling me a little something differently. So maybe the stats are not talking for me, right? Maybe the stats are not talking for me correctly. Let's look at the shooting defense real quick before I go back to that. I want to find them in the top of something, but they're not. The Clippers are not there. Actually, Golden State holds their opponents to lower percentage than the Clippers. Okay, so the stats are not telling us the story about the Clippers. They are, again, the eighth seed coming in, and it makes sense. They barely got in. They win at the end of the games. Beverly, Magruder was just added from a defensive perspective, okay? Defensively, I think they were a very strong team. Wilson Chandler was added from the 76ers. I think their star, the guy they're going to rely on from the scoring perspective, is going to be Danilo Gallinari. Awesome European player. People talk about Luka Doncic, but don't forget about Mr. Danilo Gallinari out of Italy. Landry Shamet switched over from the 76ers. I think he's going to be the next scoring target. And obviously the lead, the sixth man, I think, of the year, Lewis Williams, is going to be the catalyst right here. He is going to be the focal point for this team and their success. Depending on he goes is how they go. And it's going to be an interesting lineup. They need to use the post. They got Ivica Zubac from the Lakers. Boy, Lakers, what a move there. If you hear me sigh, I really am trying to sigh. Zubac's on the Clippers. He'll probably be the fourth man. These will be the key indicators for me. Defensive presence of Beverly, the intensity of Montrezl Harrell. I don't think Magruder is going to get acclimated. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, amazing rookie, great season. He should help out. He'll be probably one of the glue guys and could be the X factor. But these guys need to show up. Shamet needs to show up. Gallinari needs to show up from a scoring perspective. Lou Williams needs to show up, and they need some post help from Ivan Zubac. These are the guys to watch. If they don't go, this team's in a lot of trouble. To me, they are strong defensively, even though they don't look like it. But they have a very strong team defensively, and all these guys can kind of go in the paint and work gritty. I call it hustle moments. Let's get into Golden State Warriors quickly. We know who's here. We know all the weapons. Okay, and they added on the old Bogut, right? The guy who got to start this trilogy, started this Golden State Warrior era, right? With Mark Jackson and folks. They got a strong lineup. Cousins, Jesus. Curry, sit him. He had a little ankle injury. I wouldn't even play Curry, okay? I don't think you should play Curry. Let him sit. He doesn't need to play in this series, even if you lose one game, okay? Andre Iguodala, Draymond Green, okay? Like this. Klay Thompson, Again, the catalyst, Sean Livingston. And obviously, the King of Kings, Kevin Durant. Durant. This is the guy that's going to have to take it for this series, along with Clay. These two are going to have to win it for you. Obviously, DeMarcus Cousins there. Let's see what happens there with DeMarcus. Is he going to give you 18 and 10? Hey, that's all they need. I think they'll take it with this lineup. The big four, I call them, are the guys you need to worry about. I think they're going to be a big three at this time. It's going to be Clay, Durant, and Cousins, with Curry sitting out this series. And Quinn Cook does his good impressions of Curry sometimes. So I think, start Quinn, let him run with it. Let's see what he can do. He needs experience anyway. They have brought him along nicely. Other guys on here. Hey, is Damian Jones ready to protect the paint? He's an amazing leaper, strong leaper. The reason why they let go of McGee because of this man Jones. Interesting to see him and what he can do if he even comes in, because it's been Looney mostly getting the minutes. So Looney's been a strong center for them. He's listed as 6'9". I feel like he's 7 foot with his long arms. Great player. Let's see what he comes out with. X factors. You need to bring in Sean Livingston. You need to get him acclimated along with Andre Iguodala. These two will be the X factors that you look for. Defensively, I haven't talked about Draymond Green because he does his thing every night, I think. Right? He makes some stupid shot selections, but at the end of the day, he's a callous. He's a Dennis Rodman of the team. As long as Draymond is Draymond, they should be good, and he completes the trilogy, the Thanos rings of the Golden State Warriors. So let's see what happens. I think the first round, just by looking at it, we went through a little bit more detail. GSW takes this. They're going to move over into this slot and take over to the second round. I think this will be maybe a 5-game series. I'm giving the Clippers one win because of Lewis Williams and what he can do. Next one, a more interesting series. One that was last year played, and guess what? There was trouble for the Rockets. Rockets had some trouble last year with the Utah Jazz. Okay, they played them last year. Now they play them in the first round. Okay, so we're going to see what happens this year. And let's look at the Jazz lineup real quick. First, statistically, again, I'm just going to go into the top level. I don't want to get into too much detail because I'll make this a 10-hour video. Where are our buddies, the Utah Jazz, from team points per game? Not there, right? 11th, 17th. I like to see teams in the upper 15 for me to even look at you and consider you efficient. They're a little bit under that, but does that mean much? No. Be advised, for the whole season, they've been at 111. But let's look at their last 3 games. I like this statistic. How are they going into the playoffs? They're going into the playoffs on a scoring tear. However, so are the Houston Rockets at 126 per game. This is going to be a very, very interesting matchup. Let's go defensively, where I think we should see the cake taken for the Utah Jazz. They should be exactly that. Utah Jazz are an amazing defensive team. Amazing. Number 2 in the league. So you're looking at, I think, in my mind, the second strongest offense in the league in the Houston Rockets versus one of the top defensive teams in the league in the Utah Jazz. We're going to see how that runs through, and players to watch for. Let's jump into it. I'm going to go Utah first. Why not? Let's see what they got. If we got Utah Jazz, again, it's going to be a long video. Who are the X factors? Who are the focal points who have to basically contribute what they contributed all year? Obviously, first, the Don Mitchell. Don Mitchell's going to have to be Don Mitchell, period. Can't be any slacking here. No lacking in your macking, Mr. Mitchell. It's your time. You got to get going. Hey, you think I'm going to say Kyle Korver, but no, I'm going to say Joe Ingles. Joe Ingles was a strong factor in causing some pain last year for the Houston Rockets. Joe Ingles is going to have to come through this year the same way he did last year. Okay? He's going to have to really push himself, again, to have those extraordinary nights that we saw with the Houston Rockets in that series. And it was a great series. I hope we see that again. Jumping back up, if I look around on his team, there's a couple X factors that people don't know of that I'm going to tell you if we're going to be dangerous. Rudy Gobert is a huge, huge, big factor for this team. He's a defensive maniac. Rudy Gobert is going to control the paint. Rockets are a three-point shooting team, but there's usually alley-oops done with Capella, and then you got my favorite. I'm going to get to him in a second. The player that I think changed the game for the Rockets. I'll talk about him, Mr. Fareed, in a second. But Gobert and Favors are going to have to come through. They actually, even though I love Capella and I love Fareed, if Gobert and Favors play an A game and what their potential is to be, they actually have the edge on the inside. They're very strong here. I consider Jay Crowder an in and out glue guy. He is going to be, I think, the biggest X factor along with Kyle Korver. And then ring generalship, again, Ricky Rubio. Ricky Rubio is going to have to play a strong role in no turnovers, getting the ball in the right hands. That's what he does. He needs to hit a couple threes. He's improved on that the last couple years. Again, Ricky Rubio is supposed to be one of the most exciting players out of Europe. Again, before Doncic, there was Rubio, there was Gallinari. Rubio is now coming along pretty well with the Jazz. I think he's finally met a team that meets what he can do from a team perspective. Exum, hey, can he get some minutes from this rookie out of Australia? I'm calling him a rookie. He's such a young kid, basically out of high school. What can he do? He's advanced pretty well. He's controlling the ball pretty well. He's definitely not an all-star at this point, but hey, he's a gritty player. You also got Grayson Allen. Can you get him some minutes? He's not in the rotation, but can you get him some minutes? Can he give you some edge points? Can he basically give Mr. Harden a headache? Can he give Mr. Green a headache, right? These are the guys that you got to give a headache to. Other than that, I see this as a 5 to 6 game series. I think the Rockets take this in 6 games, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to jump over. You're going to look at the lineup. You're going to say, that makes freaking sense. Jump over to Houston. Houston, we have a freaking problem. This is the strongest Houston lineup there has been. Okay? There has been. There's a couple players. What happened here? I'm sorry. I'm looking at this. I'm trying to figure out how Trevon Duval is still on this lineup. I don't know if they picked him up late, but I thought he was traded to the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at this NBA most updated website. I think that may be incorrect, but we'll see. That said, Houston is led by James Harden, Eric Gordon, Gerald Green, in my opinion, Chris Paul. Okay, those are the X factors, and then they added in, the key points that need to do what they do. Kenneth Faried, amazing pickup. What a game changer for these guys. Okay, what a game changer for these guys. They also picked up Mr. Iman Shumpert and P.J. Tucker. I think you're looking at two of the best defensive guards in the league, and this is really to counteract Golden State Warriors. These two will come in handy. P.J.'s been playing multiple freaking roles on this team. He is so critical. What a glue guy to have. From position 2 through 4, it's been P.J. Tucker guarding everybody. He's also getting a three-point shot. I think he's an exciting player to watch. Not pretty, but boy, what an improvement he has made through his career out of Texas, and he was awesome there. P.J. Tucker, another big X factor. Chris Paul's health is critical. I'm looking at this, and they were worried about that. Who did they add in? They added in Austin Rivers. Great pickup for this team. People are quietly thinking, wow, now they have another guard. Man, he can't lead you all the way, but boy, Chris Paul has somebody to bend back to and get this team running if need be in the Austin Rivers. Really critical pickup. Then they have their bigs, which I think they can use a bit more size, but they still got old Nene Hilary out of Brazil, Faja, and then Clint Capella is there, right? Gary Clark plays the long big man along with Daniel House. I love these two. Let's see what they can give you in this series. It's going to be exciting to see if these guys can get going, because if these guys are doing their normal thing, these guys are doing things defensively, it's going to be a 5 to 10 minute stretch where you bring in these two guys, right? They pop in. What can they do? You are critical, folks, okay? For guys that think they're not going to play and they play like low minutes, those low minutes are critical. Can Clark and House Jr. be efficient when they get in the game to make a couple things happen? You know, a couple steals, couple disruptions, a block, 2 points, a good dunk. 3-point shot. Think about that, Clark and House Jr. You guys are critical to the success and run of the Rockets trying to make the championship run. And this looks to be their best chance. I wish they would have added Michael Beasley and another point guard. I see Chris Chioza here, but we'll see what happens. If Trevor Duval is there, that's going to be interesting. I want to see if he makes a playoff lineup because he would be a good defensive help on the backside of Austin Rivers. That said, this run here a little bit long. Houston's going to take this in 6 games at the most. Be Houston versus GSW in that first round. And I'm not going to go too much further and go through the championship. I think I actually have Houston getting to the championship this year. Really interesting for me. I know Golden State will make it, but I got to be the opposite of the norm. I got Houston making it, so I'll jump the gun there. Great matchup. Portland versus OKC. Holy crap. If you want a game to watch, whoo. Hey. If you want a game to watch, this is the game you want to watch. Portland versus OKC. OKC's coming in as the losing team, which is mean they don't have the home court advantage. Let's jump into the stats real quick. Let's look at our boys out of OKC. Defensively, look how strong they are. Look how strong they are defensively, okay? Scoring-wise, they're going to be up top 2. OKC, 7th. Okay? 7th. Last 3 games, where's OKC at? Give it to me. No. 3rd in the last 3 games. I'm telling you guys, this is a sleeper team. OKC is scary. Where do they lose at? Why aren't they near the top? Why aren't they number 3? Head problems. You know what head problems are? You win it by 15 and you lose the lead. Okay, I think that's what you're going to see. I'm trying to find that statistic, winning percentage in close games. Let's go there. Look at that. Remember I told you, if you're not in the top 15, I don't really like you. OKC needs help there. Winning percentage, who's going to step up? Is it going to be Paul George? Is it going to be Russell Westbrook? I know there's a few games people are going to say, I've seen a few games Paul George hit the game. Hey, man, stats don't lie. That's why All 4 Sports goes into the stats, man. I'm coming off work. I got a job. I can't just watch a freaking game the whole time and wait for the last shot and say, that's how I feel. I just go look at the stats, and the stats tell me no, they're not there. Russell Westbrook is not there. He's going to be that guy. You got to be that guy, Russ. You got to be that guy. I like his intensity. He has the Mamba mentality. But, hey, at the end of the game, something is happening. They're losing their edge. They're losing their edge because they are a top team all around. I mean, let's look at the shooting. I think that's something to take a peek at. Shooting efficiency, they're not too great. Okay, so they have everything as far as scoring, but efficiently scoring, they have 45%. They're near the bottom. Let's look at the 3-point shot. Let's look at the 3-point shot for OKC because they're a strong team. I think they're a sleeper, and they could really hurt some hearts if you're not paying attention to them. OKC 3-point shooting. Once again, where is it? Near the bottom. If you want something to improve on next year, OKC, this is it. You need 3-point shooters. You're lacking in this area. You really need it. And I think they can get it just by a summer of Drazen Petrovic. I'm sorry, rest in peace, Drazen. Dirk Nowitzki coming over and training these guys and shooting threes because they have all the athletic talent in the world. They need to get more efficient in 3-point shooting. Last 3 games, let's see how they have done. They are near the top. They are near the top, okay, in 3-point shooting percentage in the last 3 games. Can this boil over into the playoffs, right? Next thing I want to look at for this team, I didn't look at it with any other team because I think this team's special and they have potential to go to the championship. Free throw percentage. It's all about the heads. You got to hit your free throws. And where are you at in free throw percentage? Jesus Christ. I'm done. You're not going to win a championship shooting 71% from the free throw line. It's called free throw. Free points. No one's guarding you. Free throw, right? easier said than done, right? It's hard. If everyone's playing basketball, it's hard with the fans there, etc. And sometimes you like somebody guarding you. But OKC is having trouble with the free throws. That's another area they need to look at for next year and improve on. And I think a summer of Dirk Nowitzki or I don't know Mark Price, one of those guys, will help them out. That said, let's jump over to the other team that they're playing. I think a team that's overachieved every freaking year. It is the Portland. I should have just done it in one batch. Portland Trailblazers. Again, they're actually scoring more points per game than the Oklahoma City Thunder. Okay, 6. So very strong lineup there. It's going to be a fun-filled game to watch. Last 3 games, Portland's fell off at 118, or OKC's 123. Again, how are you performing at the end of the year? I know how you've done all year, but at the end of the year, where are you at? Where's your game at? And this is really a telling story here. OKC is running in with a lot of thunder. Their name says it perfectly. Defensively, let's look at the team defensively. Scoring defense is what I like to look at. Opponents' points per game. This is where Portland should have been the top 15. They are. I like this. Okay, 110. I'm not going to go to their last 3, and I just did anyway. They're still 14. So this is what they do. They're a defensive team. They're efficient. They're just average in a lot of things, which makes them strong. However, there's one area that they are really strong in, and I want to take a peek. Where is Portland at? 3-point shooting, 35%, baby. 35 in the last 3. They're at 38. So, hey, even though KC's higher, they're up there, but they've been there all year. Portland has been there all year. I know that consistently they're going to keep going with that 3-point percentage. Okay? And look at the last game. I'm not going to go there. 58%. We don't want to go there. But they're going to be their key to fame. Who is on the team from a Portland Trailblazer perspective that's going to make some noise? I'm going to go Portland and I'll go OKC. Again, it's the guards. This is a guard-heavy team. If you don't know about them, they had a couple nice pickups and guys that fit their role, high-efficiency players that I think are game changers. Listen, they're not a weak team. Rodney Hood was added. Maurice Harkless has been there. He's strong. So they got 3 strong glue guys, forwards that can really help this team. These will be the X factors. How they do against Paul George. They're very long. Okay, they're long. They're athletic. Let's see how they do. Big man inside. Great pickup with Enes Kanter, one of the strongest offensive rebound characters in the league. Where I think is going to hurt him is I think Nurkic is injured. This was one of their all-star centers. Nurkic is injured. I'm pretty sure of it, which is going to really cause pain for them. And let me verify because it's a long video. Might as well verify his injury. Yeah. So yeah, he's yeah. Okay. So it was a broken freaking leg. So I'm sorry. Jesus Christ. So I should have known that. This is critical for them. They lost Nurkic. If he was there, no offense, folks, OKC would be in a lot of trouble, and Portland may have had the edge. But when you lose that type of talent, you're in trouble. And luckily, they have 2 other tall big men that are going to come in and kind of fill the void. They'll never be a Nurkic, but again, they'll be suffice as far as getting rebounds. That's going to be Zach Collins and Myers Leonard. Myers Leonard, a player that is supposed to be a superstar, hasn't come along, is now just a player on a team, a role player. And that's fine, right? That's fine. But can you give us a couple flashes? Leonard, you're going to be critical to this team. Athletic, strong center. Supposed to be better than Nurkic. Let's see if Nurkic moves rubbed off on him and see what he can do from a scoring perspective and defensive perspective. Control the paint. X factors. Power forwards. We know what the guards can do. It's going to be about these 2, Dame Leonard, C.J. McCollum, and now with the emergence of, I saw emergence in the last game, Anthony Simons out of high school. What can this kid bring? Can he have a Kobe moment? I love him. I think he's going to be a superstar in the future. He's going to take over the helm for Damian Lillard. maybe play alongside of them. You may see a three-guard lineup for this team at one point. I wouldn't trade any of them. It's going to be interesting to see how Anthony Simons come along. Gary Trent Jr. out of Duke. Hey, can he play a good defensive role for this team? Can he come in? Him and Evan Turner. Evan Turner was also a soon-to-be superstar. He can give you 13, 14 points a game. He's going to have to give you that control the paint, drive, hit your three-point shots. He's kind of their glue guy. So really strong lineup when you look at it. Power forward position is something that is a little bit questionable. But they got in Skal Labissiere. He has good mid-range. He's efficient, strong player. Not bad pickup. But is it enough when we go over to OKC and the most athletic team in the NBA, in my opinion, when we look at the Thunder? Jesus Christ, from top to bottom, this team are just streaming freaking athletes all over the floor. Okay, Steven Adams, great center, great year for Steven Adams. I wish they gave him some help, and they did. They got Nerlens Noel in the summertime, great defensive anchor. Hey, now you got your defense there. Next up, you can see how excited I am with this team. Jeremy Grant at the power forward position. Now he's engaged his game. He's learned from his buddy, Mr. Patrick Patterson, who's probably tutored him. He now has an outside shot. He's an athletic freak. This guy has the potential. I hate to say it, they're not going to pay him. He's going to be an all-star at one point in his career. Okay, he will be an all-star, barring no injuries and given the minutes. Jeremy Grant will be an all-star. Don't be fooled. He's an exciting player. He's a great player. I wanted to keep him on the Philadelphia 76ers. They could not. They had to make some trades. Very, very strong player in Jeremy Grant. Great improvement. He should be in the talks of MIP. Paul George, Mr. Russell Westbrook. Now, who's going to be the third guy? Okay, who is going to be the third guy? And that's the questionable part of this. Is there a third guy? They say you need three. I don't see three here. Do I see three with potential? One of these guys has to step up. Ferguson. Diallo doesn't get too many minutes, right? Ferguson, Diallo. Is Markieff Morris going to come in and do that? Okay. It's going to be a conglomerate. This is where I see they need a little bit of help. There is no third guy, and they need it. Okay. So that's the only inefficiency. And really, and let me not stop lying to you. There is a third guy, but coming off the bench, Dennis Schrader. Critical for this team. I think he has all-star. He is an all-star in my opinion. Okay. He is an all-star if he goes to the right team. And he is the third guy. But I'm talking about a shooting guard, a small forward, third guy. Where is that at? Grant, Schrader going to have great performances, but I think they got to play. Hopefully they bring Deion Burton in. I think I love Deion Burton. If you want to see a Zion Williamson light, Zion Williamson before Zion Williamson, look up Deontay Burton. Incredible player in the G League and has improved his three-point shot, can drive the lane. I would like to see him on this roster in the playoffs. These three will be the X factors in how far they go. What can they give you? You know what George is going to give you. You know what Westbrook's going to give you. You know what Schrader's going to give you. Jeremy Grant, though I said he's going to be an all-star, a little bit inconsistent. Let's see what he can do in this playoff run. You got those four. Still may not be enough. If these guys are controlling the paint, Markieff Morris is doing his thing, is playing the Draymond Green role. Patrick Patterson as well. What are you going to give, Hami? What are you going to give, Terrence? And, hey, if you got Deion Burton on there, these three, put them in there. Let's see what they can do. OKC Thunder, I got these guys winning it out. And I got this in a 6-game series going to OKC. Okay, this is the one I could be wrong because they're hot and cold. But OKC should win this series with Nurkic out. Next up, Denver versus SAS. Denver versus Greg Popovich. Denver versus Tim Duncan. No, I'm joking. So the Spurs have been in the playoffs forever. And if you look at a team in college, a.k.a. Michigan State, Tom Izzo of the NBA is Greg Popovich. What a freaking coach. What a team he puts together every year. Much respect. Kiss you on the forehead. Kazunta. Good job, Mr. Greg Popovich. San Antonio, 3-point percentage. They're near the top. Efficient. Efficient as the world. Hey, what you got, be efficient with it because they're old dogs. Spurs. Again, always in points per game where they need help. Last three, they were in Yeah, they're still in the same range. So scoring wise, looks like that's where they need the help at. Okay, that's fine. They need some help with the scoring. Their counterparts that they're playing, right? When you look at the body of work from the Denver Nuggets, are the Denver Nuggets were possibly the number one team in the NBA. Okay, Denver is also down in points per game. Okay, they are incredibly all around team, but defensively is I think where they go get it with Mr. Malone. But Denver is behind San Antonio from a scoring perspective. They're kind of mirroring each other, right? It's like this is the new Spurs in the Denver Nuggets. But are they ready this year? Team opponents per game, okay, from a scoring perspective, Denver should be here. There you go. So Denver, again, defensive minded team. Not as good as Indiana. Look at Miami. What a shame. Anyway, so team opponents per game, again, Denver is very strong there, 106. Last three games, 109. Where's that put them at? Okay, they're slacking and they're macking, but they were trying to position themselves, leverage themselves to get in the playoffs. But Denver not so great there. Again, I think this is where we're going to see some problems for the Denver Nuggets is a scoring. San Antonio was right there, number 12. Okay, not bad. Not bad for San Antonio. But where does this take them? Let's look at some more stats. Shooting, really, I think it's going to come down to the shooting. I already went to the three-point shot. I want to get into the field goal percentage. This is where I think DeRozan excels, and Denver is actually higher. No, San Antonio's higher in efficiency, guys. You see where this is leading me to see? Okay, so let's look at the end of the games. End of the game. Let's take a quick look, quick peek. Closing out games. West Coast, what do we got? San Antonio, strong, but Denver, better. Denver, better. When the game's on the line, Denver takes it. Okay? This is another team that's stats don't tell you much because in the last 2, 3 minutes of the game, they take it. Denver Nuggets, again, efficient at the end of the game in closing. Teams. Let's take a peek. Let's take a quick peek here. Okay? Denver Nuggets love their team. Team is the key word there. They're anchored by Jokic. Okay? They're anchored by Mr. Jokic. Then they have a lot of players and some forgotten players that I want to tell you could play dividends for this team and take them over the hump. Will Barton. Okay? Will Barton, most improved player contender. Great team player. He is an X factor. Jamal Murray, first time in the playoffs. They're going to have to get ready for this excitement here. Jamal and Gary Harris are going to be critical. These are the two anchors. If you want to talk about Damian Lillard and McCollum, this is a Damian Lillard and McCollum of the Denver Nuggets. And another reason why they're here, or it's kind of fit in the same way, these guys are just younger. So let's see what they do in the playoffs. This is their opportunity. No one really stands out on this team. It's a very efficient team where everyone's in the ball game. Trey Lyles, what can he do? Again, he's a sleeper for me. People forgot about him out of Kentucky. You know, let's see how he proves out. I love him. He's another guy where I think we'll see, a potential slight, not an all. Okay, he won't be an all-star, but he'll have an all-star year at one point in his career. I like Trey Lyles. I think in the right situation, he can play big dividends. Can score on the outside, can post up. He has everything. He's the all-around player. He'll be the X factor. Paul Millsap, the forgotten son, the all-star. Okay, what can he come up with? Okay, Paul Millsap's a bit older, but still efficient. Still can get in the paint. Interesting. We'll see what he can do. Will they play Isaiah Thomas at all when the times get a little weary? Okay, he can be the last guy, sixth man of the year here, coming in and try to play the game and get some scoring up for this team. Can Isaiah Thomas be that guy? Malone said, hey, the direction we're headed, we don't really need you because we got Beasley paying well and they got Torian Craig, bigger guys, right, and Barton. But Isaiah Thomas, again, I didn't mention him in the point guard role because he's really a scoring guard. Isaiah Thomas, let's see if they play him. Mason Plumlee, great years from this kid, exciting athlete. He anchors the defensive presence for them inside. He's going to have to be that, but they still lack that from a team perspective. Just a shot blocker. However, as a team, he's making smart plays where they don't need the block. They'll make you put up tough shots, and sometimes that's better. Okay, so the Denver Nuggets strong team lineup. However, we go over to the Spurs, and you're gonna see a lot of old names. I'm an old school guy, so I'm gonna see all the old names of stars, and I'm gonna say, "Oh, it's over for the Denver Nuggets." And I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to do that. LaMarcus Aldridge, experience there. Okay, there's no one on the other side that can compete against Marcus Aldridge. Okay, nobody on the Denver Nuggets that can stop LaMarcus Aldridge if he's on. If he's on, it's over. Okay. Next up, DeMar DeRozan. I don't think there's anyone on the Nuggets side that can stop DeMar DeRozan if he's on. Sorry. I'm sorry to tell you that. There's no one there. None. All right. Dante Ingram is an X factor. Will he play? Okay. Rudy Gay, former All-Star, my opinion. Okay. Is there anyone on the Denver Nuggets side that's stopping older Rudy Gay? He's probably even with Will Barton right now. I know Will Barton is more flashy, has more handles. I get it, but 6'8", knows how to play the game. Still can get in the lane, get a couple dunks in. I like Rudy Gay. Okay. Then they got these 3-point shooting big men, Bertans. Okay. Donatis doesn't play as much, but again, these stretch big guys. This is where they're going to have a lot of trouble. Jacob Poto. These three are going to have to guard Jokic, and it's not going to happen. So that's what's going to kill them. These three are going to get pummeled by Jokic. I would let Jokic get off and worry about everybody else. Okay. Where they also lose at is at the guard position. Patty Mills is essentially by himself. Brendan Forbes comes in, strong year, efficient player, a typical Spur, but the point guard position is one that need to address in the summertime. In this league, you need a point guard, and these guys are right now backups. Brendan Forbes, again, can have a big game. So can Patty Mills, but defensively, they leave a lot to want, even though as a team, they make it happen. Lonnie Walker, will he come in? Right? Derek White, Lonnie Walker at the forward position. Be interesting to see how they come along. Okay. These two may be little X factors, especially Derek White having an amazing season at the forward. I call him a forward position. Great scorer. He can do a lot of things. Him and Brendan Forbes are X factors that are going to play pivotal roles. Will Bellinelli be able to hit his 3-point shot? Will Dante Cunningham be able to play the power forward, keep up with Millsap? And that's why I see the gaps and see Denver potentially having the edge. But the experience factor goes to the Spurs. When we look at the guard positions, Gary Harris, Murray versus White and Forbes. Interesting. But the point guard position, something to want, and I don't know what to say there, right? I don't know what to say there. I think that's where they lose out. I think that's where the Denver Nuggets have the edge. Obviously, DeJounte Murray had a huge injury earlier this year, which hindered them and would have put him in a different position. Again, very strong team. I like them. Very interesting matchup. Probably the matchup to watch because it's so difficult to predict. But my prediction will be Spurs in 7. Oof. No, that's tough to say. Spurs in 7. Popovich will bring them through. Spurs in 7 versus OKC versus Utah Jazz. Versus Houston Rockets versus GSW. GSW versus Houston Rockets. Houston Rockets take it there, and then it'll be OKC versus Houston Rockets in your NBA Finals. That's what I expect to see. OKC, don't let me down. I may change my opinion if it's an OKC-Houston matchup. This year, better than none, do the OKC Thunder have a chance to make the championship. If all guns are ablazing, they are the most athletic team in the NBA. They have all the pieces. They will be a scary matchup for any team. Should GSW take it all? Yes. Yes, I know. But I can't just keep going GSW every damn year. I can't. Houston, get in there. Houston, we have a problem versus OKC in the Western Conference Finals. Off Work Sports, I'm out. We'll get into the East in a couple minutes. Peace.